Start out with the name.
Okay. Um, I grew up in, my name is Bertha Anderson,
Hmm.
and I grew up in Mississippi, in a little small, I was born in a small town called Sardis, Mississippi,
Hmm.
which is about 50 miles from Memphis, south
Okay.
of Memphis. And later on, when I was 3 years old, I moved out of the little town into the country area.
Hmm.
Uh, and I lived with my great aunt and her husband.
Hmm.
And I grew. We didn't really do the farming. We did a little farm. They did a little farming when I was young, but by the time I was 9, they didn't do any more. The My great uncle died when I was 9, so we didn't really do any farming. We just kind of worked with, helped other people, and
Hmm.
worked and got paid a little bit. When I got big enough. When I
That's
got big
good.
enough
What
to.
type of farming did you do?
Well, they did
Mm.
cotton farming. That was all we did in those areas. Because all the vegetables and stuff, people grew their own, like in their little gardens. They didn't have, there wasn't any big produce farms, near where I live,
Okay.
except for cotton. They only did cotton and corn, of course. And you didn't have to do anything with corn. They used the corn mostly for feeding the animals in the fall, during the winter months.
You said you
And
farm
then
corn too?
but they did do, well, the corn just kind of grew by itself. Really, they had nothing to do with the corn. Like cotton, you had to get the grass out and chop it, what they call chopping cotton, where
Mm.
they get the grass out of the cotton and thin it out. They grow it in a row with a planter, and they're real close together, just a line of them, and then you have to cut them down, and make them about, my guess, about 12 inches apart, so
Hmm.
they'll grow. But if you leave them all close together, they don't grow and produce.
Right.
So, you cut them down and take the weeds out, and then they'll grow up. You know, you don't have to do a whole lot else to it. You just hope it rains and whatever, so it will produce. And
Who
so, um,
who'd you chop cotton
and
for?
uh,
Who'd you chop cotton for?
just some people that, I didn't chop a whole lot of cotton because I couldn't take the heat.
Hmm.
Maybe just help some people, or maybe every now and then my grandmother, I call my great aunt my grandmother because she was really more of a grandmother than a great aunt. But anyway, we would go to a white guy's field and help him. He would work out there. He'd chop himself too. He'd be chopping too. It would just be the three of us,
Hmm.
and I hardly knew how to. I could never keep up with the crowds. I was really slow doing it. Well, that was not my thing. Except, I I would he would pay my grandmother whatever. I don't know what the wages were, but he would pay me half fare,
Hmm.
half wage. I couldn't. He said I didn't know. He said I saw every bird that came across.
You was too busy watching the birds, huh?
I was watching the birds. And I was really slow at it. So he would never pay me the full fare, full price or whatever. But anyway, that I did that, and then doing the fall, I would pick cotton, or go pick cotton for people. You pick cotton and you put it in a cotton sack.
Mhm.
The cotton sack was a long sack. They were different lengths. For children, they were short, and for
Mhm.
adults, they were long. and you put your cotton in there. It was a strap across your shoulders, you wore it like a shoulder bag, like the
Right.
strap
Right.
on the shoulder, and then you would pick the cotton and put it in there, and then they would weigh it, and they paid you according to how per pound.
And what they give you per pound?
Ah, I don't remember.
Okay.
You would pick 100. Some people would pick 200. I have picked 200 pounds,
You picked 200
but
pounds
it's
before.
not 200 pounds of cotton. They weigh it, and you get
Hmm.
paid for however much and that couple dollars that was in the 50s. So, you didn't get a whole lot. And it
Hmm.
wasn't wages were cheap. They cheap now for some
Hmm.
people, but they were weighed and you would get to, I don't remember a lot, maybe with 30 some cent a pound or something, it wasn't a lot. But anyway, that was life in the South. And then we would go to school on it. We went to school. We would go to school from November. We didn't start in September. Only the whites started to school in September. The blacks had to wait until all the cotton was picked. And then by November, we started school in November rather than September.
So that was like
And
the
so we,
growing season. Was that the end of the growing season for cotton?
well, you chop, yeah, the end of yeah, that would be end of the cotton picking,
You said
the gathering,
the blacks
the
had to wait till the
harvesting.
cotton was done picking the cotton to go to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm You would have to wait until the harvest was over. And
Okay.
then you would go to school and start school in November. And you would go to school until about, I think school was out in April, around April, May, late April. I think you went to school all of April. And then we made up the time in summer school. We go 2 months of school in the summer.
Hmm.
Yeah, to make up those times. And it was interesting. School was interesting.